everyone. James from Atlanta Vinyl here to talk to you about UV DTF transfers and to give you a brief tutorial on how to build a gang sheet so that you can submit your orders for your UV DTF quickly, easily, and efficiently. And hopefully this video answers some questions that you may have or helps you if you're learning the process. Now, before I get started, I like to go over what UV DTF transfers are, and they're essentially permanent stickers. They don't require heat, weeding, or cutting, which really makes them ideal for branding, labeling, or personalizing different hard surfaces. Common applications for this are tumblers, coffee mugs, water bottles. It allows you to really create branded, high-end textured labels that are full color. You can use these things even for candles, cosmetic containers. You can apply them to glass, metal, acrylic, or other things that are used for signs or promotional items. And you can also use them even for creating decals for things like vehicles, laptops, phones, and other equipment. So I'd love to jump into how you get to where you need to go onto our website and how to get your transfers done so that you could get things submitted and get them back to you for using. On the website, you'll go to this top drop-down bar, and here we have UV DTF stickers. Now you have two options of submitting. The bottom option, upload a gang sheet, is for users that are building their own gang sheets, whether this be in Adobe Photoshop, Canva, or somewhere else, and they're exporting at 300 dpi for the size required to upload, the different sizes that we provide here. Now, where you'll want to go is to build a gang sheet. And so with build a gang sheet, you'll see the same sizes here, and you certainly can select your option prior to building your gang sheet, and you also can change this option in the gang sheet builder. Now, if you're using the auto build function, you don't need to know the size of your sheet prior to going into the builder. There's also other helpful information on this page that talks about image requirements, limitations, application instructions, and storage. So the main place that you do eventually want to end up is clicking this black button that says build your own gang sheet. Now, this will take you into the gang sheet builder, and with this, you can do a lot of different things. First, I'm going to show you the auto build function. Now, with the auto build function, this is where you're going to upload your image. And so I'm going to choose this image here and upload it into the builder. Now, depending on the size of your upload, if you upload a design that comes in at smaller dimensions and you're making it larger, you might compromise some of your DPI. For example, this design, we saved it at about 12 inches wide, but if we made it 15 inches wide, we drop down a little bit in DPI. Now you can help this with an upscale, but I do also recommend exporting your artwork at a larger size. So then you make it smaller when you bring it into the builder and you don't compromise your DPI. Now, in this situation, we do also want to be careful about not going too small on designs, as in order to have an optimal print, your design or where the ink is going needs to be about 5 pixels wide. Now, I wouldn't worry about that on a design like this, even if we're doing it at a size of like 4 or 5 inches. But for very small designs or very thin text, this can be a big issue. So in this situation, we're going to take our design. We're doing it at 4 inches wide, which gives us a height of 4.54 inches, which is our aspect ratio. We want to keep this locked in order to keep our designs proportional. Now, in this situation, let's say I want to get 12 of these done. I can enter my quantity here. I've got good DPI. I don't have a background on my image, which is very important. We'll get into stuff about removing backgrounds in a moment. And then I've got my sizing, so I'm going to hit apply here. Now this is going to build a 23 by 24 inch sheet, but you can see here I've got a lot of extra space. So in this situation, one thing I can do is I can remove two of those. Now they fit onto a 23 by 12-inch sheet. But as I mentioned earlier, you can also change the size of the sheet in the builder. So we could always go back to a 24-inch sheet here and say we wanted to duplicate our image from here. We could always go back to the auto build, or we could go ahead and add 10 additional images here, duplicate our images there like that. You can also move your stuff around. You can see that it'll let you know if images are overlapping. And if you have something like that, a quick fix can also be to click this button in the top right corner that says Auto Nest. And that will align your designs. It sort of pushes them together, keeps everything proportional. Now, something else to keep in mind here is your image margin at the top. The default image margin on a UV DTF sheet is going to be 0.125 inches. However, you may prefer to change your margin to be 0.2 inches. In that situation, you want to re-auto nest. You can see here that we gave ourselves a little bit more space so that when we're cutting out our designs, we don't cut into our designs and damage them. Now, there are other options or other tools, I should say, available to you in the builder. You could always upscale an image if you needed to improve the quality. This definitely can work well with low detail images, text, things like that. When it's larger images, you do want to be very careful about when you're removing backgrounds. And is the background remover removing things or leaving things that it should be taking when you're doing the removal process? Now, in this situation, we're going to add a couple more to finish filling out our sheet. Looks like we could fit probably around 3 more here. And we're going to go ahead, add those. Now our sheet is good. And we can go ahead and save this and add it to cart. One thing that I recommend here is giving your sheet a name. That way, if you need to reorder it or if you need to come back and edit it at some point, then you can go ahead and do so. The builder will also let you know if you have overlapping images, low resolution images, or images that overlap the artboard. You'll also need to click here to proceed, and this is you confirming that you don't have any trademarked or copyright images on your sheet, such as images from Disney. Once this is all done, you can go ahead and add to cart, exit, and this will take you to your cart. And if you're all finished at this point, you can go ahead and check out as part of the normal checkout process. Now, there are a couple more things that I'd like to show you, different tools that you can use in the builder to help with your process. So we're going to head back to build a gang sheet and go to build your own gang sheet. And then we are going to start a brand new gang sheet. Now we're going to upload some images here. First, we'll go with this. Let's see. Let's bring some text in here. So we've got this text image. And one thing that you might be interested about is changing the color on your designs once you've already brought them into the builder. So you'd go to Image Editor and you'd select Colors. And then you're going to choose to pick a color here, replace the color, and you can apply the color. Now you can come back in here if you'd like to. Go to this one. You can replace your color, choose a new color, and apply it. So you can do this on multicolor images by selecting, but you need to just make sure that you're putting it into the right spot. Now we'll bring in another image. This one is a smaller file. So you can see that it uploads very small. So we might choose with this to do something like upscale the quality on our image. With a smaller image here, we're very likely going to have it or want it to be a slightly larger size than what it came into the builder at. And so we need to upscale it to help in this process. So then that way we're still able to size this up and have some reasonable resolution onto our image. This will help with the final product when we're printing it. Now the last thing that I'd want to show you here is more so about our background removal and how that works along with the magnifying glass. Now, when you bring in an image with a background on it, you're going to get this background warning. You can choose to remove it here, but for this sake, I'm going to show you a different spot where you can also remove it. So we're going to add this to our sheet. This one is a higher resolution file, so it came in at a larger size. We're going to go back to our image editor. I always recommend to upscale your images prior to removing the background. The order does matter in this process, and sometimes this might take a moment. You could see it offers an after and before. This is definitely noticeable, sometimes depending on your file resolution or what you've got going on in your image. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the background from our image. And this as well, depending on file size, might take a few moments, but once it's done, we'll have a great result that we can submit as a UV DTF transfer. So we can also use the magnifying glass here to take a very close look to see what the background remover took and then also what it left. If we're happy with the changes, we go ahead and we hit apply here. And then once this is all finished processing, then it's going to put our newly edited image back onto the gang sheet. So now we can go ahead and finish what we're doing. If you try to duplicate an image as well and you don't have enough space on the current sheet given the parameters of the image that you're duplicating, you can always go back to this, add some more size to your sheet, and then duplicate another image. Now that I've shown you a few things related to UV DTF, building a gang sheet, and some tools within the builder that can help you as part of that process, such as removing the background, changing color, and things of that nature, let me know in the comments if you have anything else that you have questions on, whether that's part of the builder, something about UV DTF, or something else.